Hello, everyone. Hello there, Abby.
Hi, Michael. Mic
What's
check,
up?
mic check. We didn't get to do that before.
Oh, yeah, mic check. I can hear you loud and clear.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, whoever's lurking in the background.
How's it going? Today, we're just going to be finishing off that article that I wrote up a couple weeks ago.
Well, not
Um,
we, because I
well,
have to
that's
go,
right.
right?
Yes, Abby,
Not
Abby
we.
was just popping into, but we as in us, me and the audience. But
Oh, okay, okay.
Abby's just popping in to say hello and goodbye because she's got a party for her brother to last minute
I'm
kind
gonna
of.
stay for a little bit for us to talk. For a little bit before you start the article. But yeah, it's my brother's birthday. 55 years old. Happy birthday! And
Happy
his
birthday.
my sister-in-law, his wife, I didn't think they were doing anything. Okay. And she calls me like a couple of hours ago. I don't like whenever I called you, Michael, I don't know. And she's like, what are you doing today? I'm like, are you busy? Yeah. So I think we're going to Top Golf, I think.
Mm. I heard of that. I seen it. I never heard about that until recently, but that seems pretty cool. I saw. I think I was on Extra Bullets channel. I saw a video of that Top Golf stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool stuff.
Hi, Bad Cookies. So when my mom and I used to go play golf together, so that's a fun fact, I guess. So this should be interesting. But I'm gonna have to go get her ready. Um, change her into different clothes and stuff like that for the weather and things like that. So I won't be able to stay, but I wanted to be here um, just to say hello to you, Michael,
Yeah. My
on the
apologies
podcast, and hello
on
to
Tuesday there.
the
I left
chat.
abruptly. Hope everyone doesn't not too worried that
Yeah, I just want to make sure
shaky.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I mean to cut you off.
That's okay. I'm just saying. I left a little abruptly on Tuesday, and I didn't really mean to be offensive or anything. I was just kind of really not in a good mood, and
You was fed up.
I didn't want to have to ruin the show. Could have kept going. I just didn't really want to, you know, be a
So
part of
what
it.
you're saying is you're a human.
Yeah, I have limits, you know. So,
So I just wanted to make sure I came before I had to leave for other purposes because I didn't want you to have to try to explain why I was leaving, like you and I were in conflict or anything like that.
yeah, yeah.
Because
No,
we are not.
so
Hi,
the
X.
stuff comes up. So what's up, XT? So almost unfortunately, I mean, not exactly. I wish we could have finished up this article a little sooner because I was telling you a little bit about some stuff I was doing some research for. We could have done the show about today. We're gonna have to maybe kick that until next Thursday, but I was doing a bit
Oh,
of research.
it was a rabbit hole. It was some rabbit hole shit. It was very interesting,
I
and
think
we gotta talk about
I think we should talk about insurance companies, specifically maritime oil tanker insurance companies. But let's that'll be the our teaser for next week. So
it. Lance says
fine,
he petty. Are
I
you
decline.
human? Yes or no?
I don't know. Sounds loaded.
That's a loaded question, Lance. Oh shit. He said M for maybe. You decide.
But I mean, in my defense, the first like four questions were loaded questions, and then when he started asking me about my name and do I like beer, do I like the night or the day, those were not loaded questions. To be fair, but that was
Look,
also a disingenuous defense of as if those questions were the same character as the ones that were loaded questions. A whole bunch of bad, sloppy debate tactic stuff. So
so I kind of want to show these extra dice that my mom.
Yeah, go
That
ahead.
shit was funny as hell. Okay, let me get them. So my mom, like she comes back with these. She just remembers that I asked her for dice. That was Tuesday. Today is Thursday. She brings me these dice. Can you see it?
Yeah, there we go. Rub my back.
But look at it's like Lucky Love dice. It says one pair of romance. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I can't talk. One pair of romantic novelty dice, a different Valentine message with every roll. And I said, Mama, let me find out you a freak. Find out.
Well, you
But
got
but
to
it
manifest
was
that love,
dice.
baby.
But ain't it dice?
Just saying, you got to manifest that love.
You got. So I was like, if they come back on Tuesday, I'm gonna be like, oh, we rolling these, okay? And we gonna manifest some freaky shit, okay?
Some spicy nuts.
some something spicy.
Hello, Arabelle Albrecht. I don't believe we've ever seen you before, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
No, they were there. She was there Tuesday. I think it's a
Oh, okay.
she. She was there Tuesday. That was our first time seeing her. So
Thanks.
she saw the best of us and the worst of us all in one setting.
Well, I don't know if she must have tuned in after I left, but thanks for coming back. Appreciate you.
Bad Cookie said, "Hey, now you asked your mom for dice, right? Well, she got you what you wanted. You should have been more specific." Sean, manifest some nasty time. We're gonna manifest some nasty time on Tuesday. I'm here for it. I'm ready for the smoke. I don't know if you are,
I just
but
have.
I am.
It's not my strong suit as far as putting like being an like an extrovert instead of introvert. Like I take
Mm-hmm.
time to make friends. It's like I'm not gonna be. I might need a few months kind of to get to know you. So.
Oh, I don't give a goddamn. We rolling these dice.
Hmm.
You ain't gotta play.
No worries. I don't. I think it would be better for you guys to do some things without me, wherever, because I'm just gonna be the party pooper on that. Because you're supposed to have fun with that kind of stuff, and I just think people take it too literally. I mean, we should actually cover that as a separate topic too, like the magico religious kind of beliefs and the connection with like psychosis and schizophrenia. I was kind of maybe being rude to imply that, but let's look at the literature actually, and there is definite correlation. And the advice from like the medical community is maybe we need to have a dialogue with family and caregivers about downplay like tuning down on some of that religious mystical explanation for people's manifestation of their mental illness and whatnot, because the more that we rely on these less scientific explanations for what's wrong with people, the more you allow a supernatural kind of false explanation to be treated as the truth. And so, but that's
well,
not to get
well,
too serious. Like,
it's not me to diagnose you, but
well,
I
exactly.
do I do notice that you have a hard time just letting your guard down and just laughing, and,
Mm-hmm.
and like everything is like, no, we gotta find the science behind it. It has to be very specific, and then it's very Aspergerish to me. But I'm not diagnosing you with Asperger's. But
Right. No,
but
fair enough for an observation, right? You're entitled to your uh, you call it as you see it in that way, as I do, right? So I just think it's because like this crisis that we're in,
yeah, you're
really,
like you got to be more serious. But
it's the crisis never ends, but it's been going on for so long that people just kind of become desensitized to it. But I just remain
I
kind
feel
of
like
in panic mode almost. So
I feel like for Black people, we don't take shit seriously because we always been in crisis mode. So if we just let it get to us, then we would have no laughter.
and you shut down. It's about it's. I recognize that it's like a it's not necessarily escapism as much as it is a coping mechanism in general, right? Escapism is a type of coping mechanism, and it's not just escapism where it's like this maintaining a kind of levity to prevent from descending into like this depression that you won't really be able to get out of, kind of thing.
So
I don't know. I understand why people don't want to be like I don't enjoy being the way I am. You see, right?
oh, okay. So well, one driving me Macy is here. Hey, Miss Macy.
What's up?
So have you ever heard the term of like playing the dozens?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
Yes. That's where like all those roast comedy shows come from. That is just taking what black people was doing all the time and commoditizing it. We play the dozens all the time. We just laugh at each other, talk shit about each other, and it's all jokes. It's all love. My hair, I don't know what to do with this shit
Oh, you're
anymore.
fine. You're always worried about
What is that?
it's the headphones. They don't help you.
Black Life had a she had a little elementary school kid, and he had like this little thing that would stick out all the time, and he told her, "This is Jonathan," like he named it. So maybe I need to name. It always changes. I don't know.
That's like Alfalfa. What's the movie? Leave It to Beaver. You guys remember that movie? The kid Alfalfa had this hair lick.
Oh, they call it a cowlick.
Yeah, cowlick. Yeah.
And that's mostly with white kids. They have like that little circle where the hair don't know where to go. You don't know how to go to move, like be forward, backwards, or whichever side.
Yeah,
and it just does this.
I don't know if it's going on right now. A little bit, you see? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's partly why I wear the hat so much. Maybe it's a sign of where I'll be bald through the. Like, there's two ways to go bald. There's the people who get the circle in the back and it just expands.
And it just stands up.
And then there's the people who starts from here and it just goes back. Whatever.
Oh, that's funny. I don't know. Wait, what is he saying? Can you read it?
Well, why did the chicken cross the road? Was it forced to cross? Was there food on the other side? Was the proletariat oppressing them? Nyla wanted to delve deeper into jokes. Yes. That's a great idea. Whatever. We should psychoanalyze the chicken and the reasons why they crossed the road.
I thought it was to get to the other side.
But
there's plenty of jokes about that though.
The grass is always greener on the other side.
There's plenty of why the chicken crossed the road jokes.
Yeah, see, I'm not good at remembering jokes, or I don't really like telling them as much, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It must be genetic or something, right? It's like I'll leave it to others to be the funnier people. I mean, I have jokes. Sometimes they're pretty funny, but it's like a rare thing. I'm not trying to force it. So.
Uh-oh. I gotta tell Black Life. Like, she better come correct very soon, or she gonna lose her cred.
Yeah, see, dancing is the same thing as my jokes or whatever.
Okay, look at this joke. Read it.
The chicken crossed to get to the Asperger restaurant.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I'm not I don't want to like hold you up because I know you want to do your thing and I gotta go get my mom together because we're supposed to be there by 7. It usually takes me like 2 hours to get her ready, and that doesn't include travel time because she'll start doing other stuff and she don't like me hanging over her. She gets mad if I hang over her. Like, I only do it for doctor's appointments. Like, we gotta go. These are your tasks. Do it now. Rah, rah, rah. You know, she gets pissed off about that. Then she gets pissed off when I don't bother her and just come in like every 30 minutes or whatever and give her a time check and stuff like that. And then she's so late that I'm like, it's over with, mama. Like you missed it. She gets mad that I didn't force her to get there. So I'm like, well, what the hell you want me to do? I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
You just can't win. Huh?
Can't win for losing. That's what they say. Can't win for losing. Hi, John.
What's up, John? I don't know if I said what's up, Lance.
No, John. John.
Yeah, I said hey John. I said, and I don't know if I said hello
Okay.
to you, Lance, but yeah, good to see you all. Yeah, I guess we can get started, get this over and done with, and then whatever won't need to be griping about LaRoucheites anymore. I fucking canceled my subscriptions to their channels and all that. So I'm trying to enjoy peace.
There is a
Go ahead.
Sorry, it just popped up in my head. There, Cal Kalinske has a podcast today. I was kind of watching it. Oh, I think it's called like something about Mondami, and he's calling Mondami the king of the leftist Tea Party. I said leftist Tea Party. Hold on, I'm just gonna take this down for a second.
Yeah.
I said leftist Tea Party.
He's trying to come out like he's strong in opposition to Mamdani. Is that what it sounds like?
No.
Or he's trying
like
to celebrate him,
rooting for him, but
right.
He's also trying to act like I felt like he was trying to connect the liberal Democrats to Mondami, like they were one and the same. He's saying leftist Tea Party.
As if that's a good thing.
I could send it to you if you want to talk about it. I'll make sure I send it to you. If you want to do a you never watched it before, so you could watch it and give your critiques or whatever.
And reaction or whatever.
But I kind of felt it was really weird because he's bringing up like Democratic Socialists of America as if they are on our side type of thing. You know what I mean?
Must have got a new payment of some sort for the propaganda, whatever. $100,000 check or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it felt strange. If you want to blind react to it,
yeah,
or sure. If you don't have enough time, that's
I just
fine
haven't been following.
I thought it was interesting.
I've not been following Kyle Kalinske for years now. At this point, I have no idea what he's been up to, but it sounds like literally the same shit, if not worse, than what he was doing when I was hearing about him before.
He's calling. It's only 14 minutes long.
Okay.
So that's not that long, right? So yeah, I'm going to put it in the. Oh yeah, you want to do it now?
Well, I was saying, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You want to do it now, or did you? That's what I thought you were talking about. You want to do it?
Oh, I was going to give it to you to do it later, but we could do it now. Okay. Sure. But I gotta check on my food, or maybe Black Light would do it. Let me see.
Whatever you'd like to do.
I kind of want to show you before It's 14 minutes. We could do it.
Lance is saying, "Have I quit fettering?" I'm saying, "No, I quit lingering." That's the thing. Trying to if I stop doing the lingering and the watching, the hate watching and shit, whatever, maybe the fetters will fall away a little bit.
So it came back to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show. What did I do? Okay. So see where it says dim tea party.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
how?
Zoran's party now, bitch.
Yes, it's Zoran's party now, bitch. But
But is it?
but is it really? So that's a really good thing for us to critique. I'm going to take this down. Um, I'm going to check on the food. I'm going to give my mom a time warning. Just give me a second, please.
Yeah. In the meantime, I can. I
And
wanted
and in the meantime, you could do all the yeah,
the
all the
donation
fundraisers and stuff.
fundraiser.
Yeah, I had to turn it off. It was sticking at the
Oh, you turned it off already?
and I moved it to the back. Burn it. It was it's black at the bottom. I didn't want it to taste burnt.
No, no, that's the pie.
Oh well. I just put you to the back.
All right, anyway, I'm still gonna go check on my mom. I'll be back.
Sure. See you in a minute.
Okay.
That's a good joke, by the way. Cookies. I asked if anyone missed Charlie Kirk. You responded with, "Well, the sniper sure did miss some." Hey, sorry, good one. All right. So this is our friend Yonina. Haven't spoken to her in a couple weeks, at least almost a month now. I need to go. Maybe send her a DM or something, but I'm quite certain that she could still use your assistance. So she's been facing a moving emergency, and she's been having to surrender her current property. I think she had a little bit of an extension of the deadline, but that would be rapidly approaching once again. So let's please do what we can to donate. She's not really asking for a whole lot, and so if we can do that crowdfunding, the sharing as well as the donating whatever you can, I'm sure she would very much appreciate that. But also, our friend Cowboy Kitty uh, has had his. I'm fucking, my bad, whatever. My memory sucks, whatever. I'm having a hard time remembering the family relation. It's his like sister-in-law, I think, or something like that. But she's been taken abducted by ICE, and I actually heard recently from an update from him that she's been moved to another jail with another judge, another jurisdiction. So she actually has a bit more of a chance of getting out instead of this indefinite kind of limbo that she's been stuck in. So I think now would be a good time to be pushing for a resurgence in the funding. If you guys can do that, I'd appreciate it. Donate whatever you can, but definitely please share on all your social medias. Let's try and get this donation drive kicked up again, because they're going to be needing, I think, about 2,000 for the bail. Something, I think it's the bail. But anyways, he already thanked us. We did manage to help cover some of the court expenses, but we still have that most important bit of actually getting her out, and those lawyers are going to need some money. So appreciate you, any of you who watch this, who will be able to, anything that you are able to do. I'm sure kitties would appreciate it as well. He would thank you if he were here. So that's that. Those are the only two donations that I'm sharing at the moment. We really got to get around to finding a vetted like a donation site for Gaza Strip or the West Bank, the Palestinians. Although they, I think, are getting a lot more vocal and genuine support from millions of people all around the world, and that so I sort of put a little bit of a try and do a little extra shout out for these donation requests from Americans there that are not really getting any kind of wide sort of coverage. So fault me for that however you will. Perhaps I am evil for not supporting the right person with our donation requests. I think that that's kind of not really an effective kind of place for us to be kind of criticizing each other who don't really have any money to spare anyways over kind of what little bit that we're able to give, and for who we feel is worthy of assistance. We're all worthy and in need in a way. I mean, some of us maybe not really, but the vast majority of us, we're all suffering. We all need help, and we don't need to be doing this trauma Olympics. So let me call up my article, I guess, or was I think Abby's going to be back probably shortly, so I'll just kind of wait for her before I get started in on that, because she was going to want to share that Kyle Kalinske video. Maybe she should have asked her to put it in the private chat, but maybe I can find it real quick before we. Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was called. So it's Mamdani's, it's Zoran's party now. Okay, hang on. Let me just bring this up here. This is half an hour or 34 minutes. I thought Abby was saying it was more of a 14-minute video, but maybe I'll. Yeah, I'm not sure which video she was referring to specifically, but this is the one that I remember talking about. Let me call that on screen. I just got it all backstage for you. 1 second. Another direction that we could have taken it today, I wasn't sure what Abby was wanting to talk about, but I was doing some research on the Afghanistan-Pakistan war that everyone seems to have forgotten about. So I will just take the opportunity to remind you of that situation if you're wanting to look into it. Since I won't really, I'm just kind of waiting for Abby to get back. I'll just touch briefly on that. So what's happened is there's most recently is Russia and Afghanistan have signed what they're calling a military technical deal, which is not really like any massive grand alliance or anything, but it is a signal of support. And it's quite complicated and interesting. I feel like we're going to need to delve into what's really happening there, because there hasn't been much geopolitical discussion from analysts on that, but it is something worth a little puzzle to solve, because Russia has very strong diplomatic ties with Pakistan and India and Afghanistan and China, and that's kind of really important to understand sort of what's maybe really going on there with that. Like, why is that war even happening at all at this time? And so that was a subject worth talking about. And the other thing about that is Pakistan has recently felt the need to declare open war against Afghanistan. I thought they were already in open war. I think I'm really pissed off at all modern states these days about how nobody can actually have the honesty or honorability to declare open war when they obviously the entire world can see that they're in open war. It's for these legal pretenses that they think they are getting away with, to pretend like they're not engaging in war when they obviously are. Anyway, the other war I wanted to get to is the Myanmar war, something that nobody's talking about, and that's kind of a sign that there's a reason why nobody's talking about it. Maybe certain parties feel like it makes them look bad, so they don't really want that topic to be in the media, right? And that's much more, when it comes to Myanmar, it kind of gets down to China's foreign policy is about They like to reassure the world that their their policy of non-interference, right? They don't get involved with other people's conflicts, except for when we get looking at the Myanmar conflict. That claim gets a little bit blurry. Gets a little bit harder for them to sit there and pretend like they are not really interfering or involved in the conflict when they have so much at stake with the regimes in surviving the conflict and not losing, right? So they clearly have a side that it's almost like an existential whatever. They really, it's like Myanmar is very important to China, and so I'm kind of surprised that nobody's talking about it as much. So we'll get around to that in the coming weeks because those wars aren't going anywhere. I just wanted to bring those up while I was waiting for you to get back, Abby. Are you here now again? We can cover this Kyle Kulinski a bit.
I'm here.
Good. Okay.
Can you make it big?
Yeah. Let me just get started here.
Oh, you're just starting. Oh, okay. I apologize. I didn't even.
And all I have in my tummy.
Okay.
What a night last night. Incredible stuff. Massive Democratic primary victories. The Democratic Tea Party is officially in full swing. It's in full effect. There's no denying it at this point. Even the enemies of the Democratic Tea Party have to acknowledge it's on like Donkey Kong. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. We have the Democratic Party officially becoming Zoran Mamdani's party. He is now the kingmaker. We also have Trump's worst nightmare coming true as the polls for him turn absolutely apocalyptic.
Okay,
we
like
are
all of, you can go past all this. He's just
rock
giving
bottom,
you a rundown
like
of
as
what he's
low as
talking
one
about.
can go.
All right, so let's just jump like 2 minutes in. All right,
Something.
right when he gets to whatever he's gonna.
We're there on Monday nights. All right, y'all, we got to talk about it. So look at this.
Here we
New
go.
House Democrats reeling from New York primary results. One called it an earthquake and a huge defeat for leadership. Quote, it was a tough night, Representative Meeks, Queens Democratic Party chair, told Axios. Senior House Democrat asked if members are worried, said, quote, yes, they are. The Democratic Tea Party is on like Donkey Kong, and the reason this is happening is because the American people looked at Democratic leadership and they saw them routinely losing to Trump and being weak and being feckless and not being organized and getting railroaded by the fascists. And so finally, they stood up and said, can I get a fighter or two, please? Can I get a fighter or two? Can I get people who...
Can I get a fighter, please?
Can you?
Nope.
Yeah.
You're still not allowed to have a fighter.
First of all, you cannot try to like take over the ideology that we are discussing and talking about and communicating with. I just said the same thing 3 times. You cannot take over something grassroots and then just rename it the Democratic Tea Party. What the? We are not Democrats.
But what's grassroots?
Do not try to corral us like leftists. Leftists do not fuck with the Democrats or the Republicans. So why are you trying to rename us the Democratic Tea Party and corral us back into the Democratic Party? Like this, like we are the same. We are not the same, sir.
Oh. This is,
Ma'am?
I think, it's
Sassy?
maybe an example. It's an example of waiting for the older, more disillusioned people to tune out, and this message is really for the younger generation coming in. They're not really trying to win us back or anything. They're just trying to carry on the grift for the next noobs who want to walk into it. You know.
That's a really good point. They're like, yeah, that's a good point. There's this what is his name? Destiny, and they are like the answer to the TPUSA.
Right. I guess that's what he's talking about with this
the Unfuck Trump
Tea Party
or something.
Like, I've been seeing on Nick Cruz's channel, he was talking about this like he's talking about, can we get some fighters, please? And then Nick's showing this graphic of this upcoming conference or whatever it is, and it's all these fucking grifters we've already exposed, all these fucking psyops like Kyle Kalinske here and fucking Vosh and Destiny, like you're talking about, and the fucking Minority Report people. And obviously these people are not to be trusted, and yet they think that they can come out with this campaign as if they're fighters now, when all we've done is see them betray us for money.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted you to play this, because I was like, what does he think he's doing, and who is he appealing to? And it's actually 34 minutes long. I thought it was 14. So
that's what I was saying. I noticed that it was that long, and I was like, is this what she was talking about? But
yeah, it's a little longer.
It's all right. We'll just play some of it, and
Okay.
as much as we can stand anyway. Because yeah, clearly he's received a new paycheck or salary, and he's fired up about it, right? And ready to share the script that he's been given to talk about. Let's hear what his script is a little bit.
Actually believe in something, and boom, here we are. Now, of course, Israel played a huge role in this. There's a bunch of issues that are sort of top of mind when it comes to these victories. But let's take a look at this Axios article real quick. So they say, socialist earthquake leaves Democrats reeling. I love this picture, by the way, they used of Zoran and Brad Lander laughing. Brad Lander, of course, was one of the winners. Daria Liza was one of the winners. Claire Valdez was one of the winners. Basically, it was a clean sweep for the Zoran candidates, okay? And look, some of these candidates are so based that you genuinely and sincerely had AOC and Bernie Sanders were too skittish to endorse. Even Ro Khanna was too skittish to endorse. But Zoran was like, fuck it. I have this political capital. Why not spend it? Let me get some real ones in Congress. All right. So here we go.
Yeah.
House Democrats
let's pause that for a second, because I can already read some of this article he's about to get into. And everything I've been hearing about the DSA like screams red flags that this organization has to be abandoned at like full whatever post haste. I don't know if that's right. Like the DSA is a nightmare of an organization, whatever, completely false. There's nothing socialist about it. I'd say there's nothing democratic about the Democratic Party. So for this situation where the DSA should be dying right now, like socialists have already long time been aware to stay away from it, and yet now it's poised to double in size. So they really that's something to take note of, I'd say.
Interesting.
Because clearly the DSA is not an organic institution there. It's just
he mentions them in this video, by the way, but I digress.
I'm sure he's gonna cheerlead them as if they're like the greatest.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Like they are the end all be it all for the left. The same motherfuckers who did a hit piece on Chris Smalls. These are the ones. This is the hill we're gonna die on.
That's where a lot of people are. I don't really see them at fault when they say that Stalin was right. When we say democratic socialists are objectively the left wing of fascism, basically, or the moderate wing, I believe is what he said, because that is what they continue time and time again to demonstrate that that's what they are, And so, but that's the thing. Just like the word democracy, you got to recognize like how cynical politics have become. You really can't pursue like the democratic ideology because the party is kind of snuffing up, like sucking up all of the energy. And the same thing is kind of happening with social democrats, right? They can't turn over a new leaf because there's these corrupt organizations that are defining what the ideology is, and there is no alternative dual power or whatever that emerges that's able to show, no, there's a better type of democracy, and it's this party,
Mm.
It's a bit like being a Christian, in my opinion. Whatever. If the religion is so corrupted, whatever, what are you doing? Still trying to be one? Just be something.
Uh-oh.
But that's like maybe I don't need to go there.
You
know what I
gotta
mean?
you gotta read this comment.
DSAs are like LaRoucheites who don't mind big government as long as they use the proper pronouns. Interesting. They're like the LaRoucheites light, you know, the LaRoucheites without the conspiracy, kind of homophobia and climate change denialism and that. But they're still a religious cult, I would say. That's where, was it the Daniel Tutt? That's a channel I watched, Emancipations with Daniel Tutt. And just today, there's having this guy named Benjamin Studebaker on, who was talking about the DSA as if it was, he's like, I have to finally admit, you know, that the DSA is just turned into like a religious institution, you know? And it's like, if even, because I've been hearing some people that don't watch us anymore, like, can't remember the name so much, but they were a big supporter of Marxism, Leninism, and China and whatnot. And when I was sharing with them that I watched Daniel Tutt and whatnot, they were like, "Oh, fuck that guy," or whatever. You watch that guy, fuck you, kind of thing. And it's like, well, look, now you guys agree on the DSA at least. Like, some people are on a growing trajectory. I don't know if I understand things well enough to say Daniel Tutt's headed in the right direction, right? But I do appreciate some of what they have to share over there. Anyways, not to be getting in. That's neither here nor there. So
I'm gonna have to go do another time check with my mom in a little bit. So
okay, let me hit play here again.
Yeah.
On Tuesday night after two of their colleagues, including the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, lost primaries to left-wing challengers. Now, that's Espaillat that they're talking about. I believe he's been in office since 1992 when I was 4 years old. Okay? He also ran a dirty, dirty campaign. So that came back to bite him in the ass. They say New York primary results are poised to double the number of Democratic Socialists of America members in Congress, something that is not sitting well with some moderates. I use that term loosely, by the way. Really diet MAGA Democrats.
Sure he does.
Quote, people who do not support the DSA wring their hands at cocktail parties while the DSA is organizing. Representative Tom Suozzi, a diet MAGA Democrat, the co-chair of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus, told Axios. I love these Orwellian names that the diet MAGA Democrats use. We are the Problem Solvers Caucus. And by problem solvers, I mean, I like tax cuts for the rich and corporations, and I support Israel.
Is he not
I'm sorry, that's not moderate, and that's not problem solving. That's actually part of the problem.
I'm sorry. We're not going to get through this. We're not going to get through this.
That's all good.
Is he not a diet MAGA Democrat himself?
No, he's trying to do a face change, you know? He's trying to pivot.
It's a grift. Isn't it a grift?
Don't fucking let these people pivot. They're not genuinely changing. Right, they're just trying to do what they see is they see there's a popular kind of sentiment that they're losing, and so they're just trying to corral people back in,
or move that way, while continuously trying to move the people that are going that way back to the way that they actually really are.
And I think the way they do that, so. Just off the top of my head, what they do is they see like the populist sort of direction that people are headed in, and then they cater to, they give the talking points that people are looking for, and then what they do is they work on coming up with like a electoral strategy that appears to address those demands, and of course is a bait and switch, but it's about pivoting back to nothing works except we have to have an electoral strategy. And if you're going to do electoral politics, it's got to be the Democratic Party, because, you know, that third party is never going to get enough fucking support. So that's how it's all in due time, right?
Okay.
I don't know if we'll see if that's a good theory or not. I just think it would be funny as far as what their function is. Do they have any other options, really? There's only so many things they can do without not fulfilling the mandate they were given by the duopoly.
Keep going.
Okay, sure.
They say another centrist House Democrat, speaking on the condition of anonymity to offer candid analysis, called the results an earthquake and a huge defeat for Dem leadership. It was a tough night, said Representative Greg Meeks, a close ally of leadership and the chair of the Queens County Democratic Party. Representative Dan Goldman lost re-election in a landslide to progressive former New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, who led by more than 30 percentage points as of late Tuesday night. We've never seen anything like this, where an incumbent gets blown out by 30 points. An incumbent. Typically, incumbents have all the power. But in this instance, Brad Lander blew him out. And by the way, the big reason for this was the issue of Israel.
Okay, that's interesting. I would say I see a parallel there, an odd one, between what's happened in the UK, where the Labour Party got kind of decimated. So it seems like there's some strategies playing out. There's some landslide things happening. But whereas in the US, there's the landslide with the upsurge of the DSA, in the UK, there's a landslide depleting the Labour Party. So it's not exactly the same phenomenon, but it seems almost like it's connected somehow to me. I don't know if that's relevant. It's just observation of mine.
Dan Goldman is reliably on the left on most issues. One issue where he's not at all, and he's basically a fascist, is Israel. And voters said, how about you go fuck yourself? We're not playing this game anymore. They say Representative Espaillat, the Hispanic caucus chair, lost his primary more narrowly to Democratic Socialist Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, according to the Associated Press. Now, that was the toughest race, and we still pulled it off. In the race to succeed retiring Representative Nydia Velazquez, Democratic Socialist State Assembly member Claire Valdez won a comfortable double-digit victory over Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. Lander, Chevalier, and Valdez were all backed by New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani, while House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries endorsed Espaillat and Goldman. So this is how you know it's the Tea Party moment, is you literally have the leader of the Democrats in the House endorsed the people who were already in the caucus. Doesn't matter. They got their cheeks clapped anyway, y'all. They got their cheeks clapped anyway. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. Jeffries also hinted at a preference for Reynoso on Tuesday afternoon, telling reporters that Brooklyn Borough President was backed by a coalition of very progressive Democrats, many of the unions that we've worked closely with. He also noted pointedly that is the most gentrified district in the nation by far, a nod to moderate complaints that DSAers are propped up by young, white, well-educated transplants. All right, let me pause here to point out, this is our first line of cope. Oh, it wasn't actually the people of color in these districts that voted for the DSA candidates. It's all of the wealthy, educated, white gentrifiers. Please. What you're going to see is the data will 100% prove that wrong. No, these candidates were popular across the board with every demographic of Democratic voter, period.
Well, that's a fucking sad fact, if that's true. The fuck? You still got hope in the Democratic Party? Sorry. That's some dumb shit.
But this is their first line of cope, is like this subtle hint that, oh, this isn't the true position of the people of color. The people of color actually want diet MAGA politics. They don't want real left-wing politics. They don't want a left-wing Tea Party. Fuck you. They absolutely positively do. Quote, the progressive energy is clearly very...
So now they're unironically doing blue MAGA? Wasn't that what we were calling them when the fucking MAGA thing kicked off?
Laughing. I'm just laughing because...
Maybe if people do really actually want whatever, a MAGA light, wherever, that doesn't... people often want what they shouldn't. They've been taught to want exactly the thing that will hurt them. And that's people like you fucking teaching them that shit, Kyle.
Lance says, I have algorithms crawling in my bed, like bed bugs.
You might want to get that checked out.
Oh, shit. I just thought this was funny. I'm sorry. I can't take shit seriously. It's hilarious to me. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go.
High, said Representative Pramila Jayapal. She added, clearly Mayor Mamdani's endorsement and turnout machine really does matter as candidates who are willing to stand up to AIPAC, as do candidates who are willing to stand up to AIPAC. The progressives beat the establishment in the heart of New York City, said Ro Khanna. The energy of our party is clearly with the left. Suozzi said it's time for the Democrats' moderate wing to wake up to the threat posed to them by the Democratic Socialists. Quote, economic insecurity, climate change, and immigrant injustice are all real problems, and alternative solutions must be offered. It's time for a great deal of hard work to out-organize the extremists on the right and the left. Here's the problem, buddy.
See,
and he goes on to say,
fuck you for claiming to be extremists or whatever that need to be outmaneuvered, whatever, on the left. Okay, no, you need us. You need to go far left. You need to stop fucking pretending like this is gonna get you anywhere.
And to me, this is making Mondami look more like a psyop than anything, because wait a minute, like, why are you endorsing all? It just feels like, you know how Black Lives Matter was a grassroots thing, and then they created an organization, and the organization turned out to be so corrupt. But it had nothing to do with the fact that it was a grassroots behavior. So I just feel like bro is about to be done. They're about to outmaneuver him and take whatever progress he did come up with and fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it sounds to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Mamdani to me has always just been the new Bernie Sanders. It's not that complicated, but they have to do all this song and dance to make it look like there's some brand new thing happening. It's not just the repetition. But one thing I was saying about, I see some kind of strange comparison with what's happening in the UK, but it said he's saying that we need to fight the far left and the far right. That's literally the one and only article I read from the CBC about Keir Starmer's resignation. They were fucking still taking the time to praise him for saving the Labour Party from the far left. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then he's saying that the reason why this happened was definitely because of their policies on Israel. Well, okay, that's exactly why you need to keep the Labor Party pure, or whatever, from not let the fucking far leftist in, you know. But we're not even trying to get in at this point. We recognize that it's a waste of time, right? And that would actually compromise us if we successfully managed to do the entryist, that's the Trotskyist shit. Then we would manage to just take the fucking sullied reputation of the Labor Party or the Democrats or whatever, and then we would wear their dirty clothes. That wouldn't be good for us.
You have a response in the comments, and then I gotta go do a time check with my mom.
Yeah.
So go ahead and read that, and then I'll take it down, and then I'll be back.
Except Mamdani doesn't sound like a broken record yet. He doesn't bring up millionaires and billionaires in his speeches every time. Yeah, we'll see if he ever gets close to it, but they obviously are conscious of the fact that they have to make sure that history doesn't repeat too closely. That's why this is the perfect time for these shitlibs to start their grift all over again. The new generation wasn't there for the last rigging. Yeah. And Trump has really managed to make a complete fool of himself with this fucking Iran war. And as it's so crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be back, okay?
Yeah, I'll see you when you get back.
Okay.
It's just so crazy how the Democratic Party was so badly humiliated when they lost the election. Like, they really outdid themselves in being pathetic. And so it really did look like they had finally fucking damaged their reputation, like, beyond fucking repair. And it's pretty impressive to see how much they can just fucking pretend, whatever, fake it till you make it, and wait till the Republicans look stupid enough, and then people will somehow... this is where I think they maybe trick us a little bit into thinking that there's more organic support for them, even still now happening, whatever. It's that fucking money talks, bullshit walk stuff, right? So maybe they really did suffer like a fucking fatal crash in their support, but so they've just fucking paying more people to pretend to be their supporters than ever before. I don't fucking know. You can't really make those kinds of statements without kind of having something to back it up, or else you're just losing credibility. So let me play a little bit more of this video, and then when Abby gets back, we'll see how much longer we want to go on with this. So.
Say one version or another of we got to take the gloves off against these people. Good luck. You're going to lose faster, and you're going to lose by more points if you take the gloves off against the Democratic Tea Party wing, because all you're going to do is out yourself as Diet MAGA, and all your voters are going to hate you more. In fact, some of the people who still voted for these Democrats were voting for them under the delusion that they were the more progressive option, right? As soon as you remove any doubt of that whatsoever, good luck-ski, right? It's like what Mallory McMorrow did in Michigan against Abdul El Sayed when she came out and started hitting him from his right. It didn't work. It backfired massively, and Abdul El Sayed built a nice lead. So good luck with that. Good luck with that, okay? The centrist House Democrat who spoke anonymously said the results showed that appeasement doesn't work. You have to be tough. Nancy Pelosi brought a machine gun to a knife fight. You can't win with these guys by playing patty cake. Again, different time, different era. That's back in the day when Democratic voters trusted Democratic leadership. Now Democratic voters have seen Democratic leadership get railroaded by Trump over and over and over, and they're ready for a different kind of politics. They're ready for a more radical politics. They're ready.
No, if you're ready for a different kind of politics and more radical kind of politics, you are ready to turn your back on the Democratic Party forever. And that's that, right? You be ready to turn to a socialist or a communist party. But if you're not, if you think you're going to go to any other kind of party, a libertarian party, a green party, whatever, that's not fucking new politics. That's more of the same old fucking failed, been there, done that shit. But, you know, people got to put the old wine in the new bottle and then pretend like something really fucking happened, but it really tastes a whole lot different. I love how people just love to pretend so much, whatever. They just love to enjoy things instead of get serious.
For actual fighters. They're ready to break up our relationship with Israel and tax the billionaires and lock up the MAGA criminals. Nothing you can do is going to put that genie back in the bottle. A senior House Democrat asked if their colleagues were worried about the results, said, quote, yes, they are. So you know what? All of you line up and kiss Zoran Mamdani's ass and start saying the things all your voters actually believe. That Israel can go fuck itself. We got to tax the billionaires. We got to lock up the MAGA criminals. We got to do universal health care. Everybody should have a right to join a union. Start saying those things. While Goldman's loss was widely expected, quote, I feel terrible about Dan, but everyone predicted that one, said the senior House Democrat. Espaillat's race blindsided some members. Espaillat sounded very confident before the results came in on Tuesday night. Another House Democrat told Axios, adding that the low turnout led many to think Adriano would be okay. Turns out he wasn't. By the end of the night, however, there was lots of silence in the Congressional Hispanic Caucus text chain. What party leadership is looking to dust itself off and move on, with a source close to the Jeffries operation telling Axios he is laser focused on winning back the House in November. Establishment Democrats look to the primary victories of centrists like Kate Conley in the New York City suburbs and former Representative Ben McAdams in Utah as the silver linings of the night. I love how now they're at the point where, like, we're winning like 90%, they're winning 10%, and they're going, 10% sure was nice, though, huh? That's how rough it's looking for them. The centrist House Democrat who spoke anonymously predicted the sudden influx of Democratic socialists will be a, quote, migraine for leadership come 2027. In other words, they're going to hold Democratic leadership accountable and make sure they're not Diet MAGA. Make sure they're not helping the far right. Quote, calling it a headache is an understatement, the lawmaker said. Holy shit, said a second senior House Democrat. Buckle up.
Okay, so I guess
I'm back.
I guess Jimmy Dore is rolling over in his tanning bed there about the the vote coming out of the DSA now. What? The hard politics? The hardball? Whatever. They're playing hardball finally, whatever. I guess maybe Jimmy's got a place for them with them again, you know?
I don't know what just happened, but I just heard a little pettiness at the end, and I laughed. Did he talk about Jimmy Dore? Or you just
No, I'm just bringing that up because this whole like the blue whatever Tea Party shit, whatever. All of a sudden they're ready to play hardball, and it's like, yeah, well, there you go. They are what you wanted them to be now, Jimmy.
Of course, by now, and by hardball they mean vote blue, so we can have the power. once we get the power, that hard ball is gonna be soft in a bitch.
It's gonna be that Charlie Brown football.
It's gonna be so soft. It's gonna be like a little scrunchy.
Mm.
Like, who are you fooling?
So
I'm
I
gonna
think
have to leave it. I'm gonna have to leave in at least like 30 minutes.
is that a good time to leave off on this video here? It looks like he got to the end of whatever article he's reading. So
I don't know. I wasn't able to like really focus on watching it because I have my friend was over here and I was trying to hear it and talk to them at the same time. But I
Yeah.
was catching little nuggets, and I just thought would be interesting to. If you want to keep playing it, you can. I just got to leave in the next 30 minutes. I mean, I got to get off in the next 30 minutes because then that's when I got to like really force my mom to get everything together to get out the house.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna have to get going soon. So I think now is maybe a good time to pivot. What we should do is pick up this conversation again. I guess the midterms are coming up. I don't know exactly when the U.S. midterms are,
November.
but that is
November.
building. That's a building. Maybe we don't need to wait all the way till November, but that is a whole building kind of situation. Looks like Trump's
Well,
not like the
right
Republicans
now
are gonna,
it's like oh, I'm
they're gonna,
sorry.
I'm just saying, it looks like the Republicans are probably going to get screwed that's what I'm hearing. So it'd be good to see what happens, right?
So right now it's like primaries going on all over the country. Um, they're almost to the end of the primaries, and then in November that's the finals.
Yeah, I don't usually like doing too much of the following of doing the political racehorse or whatever.
Me
Betting.
either. I really don't like that either.
But it's
But
we just
it's
need to
important too.
We need to keep enough abreast of the like pertinent information, I guess. So, yep, that's the
That's
fun.
why that's why I wanted to start the network and like have people from their various states that focus on domestic policy in their states to give us information, because that's hard to follow 50 goddamn states.
Yeah. Well, and that's just one country, right? So I like the idea of getting a network happening so that because our perspectives are only so wide and
Right.
illuminating, and the more the merrier. Like the higher fidelity, the higher quality information we get by putting our heads together, as long as we don't get into like an echo chamber, or as long as we don't get some infiltrator or whatever feeding us a bunch of bullshit. But
Bad
anyway.
Cookies asked, have you guys considered doing some field reporting in your area and asking voters why they choose to be lobotomized? I am not going to do that because I'm in Louisiana and there are a lot of, as a black woman, many races would target black women and black children. And yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
not
some
doing
things
that.
I'm sure that the way that I talk about stuff, I could undoubtedly offend some people. I might consider doing that one day. It's just not something I've ever done, so I would definitely feel kind of uncomfortable and awkward with the learning curve. But there's been like the bridge project we've got going on in Windsor is just about finished, but it's kind of been held up and delayed because of like these Trump trade war stuff. And so Windsor is actually one of the places in Canada that's really had the screws tightened on. Like we're really feeling this trade war, and so maybe people are actually having something to say right now as opposed to being tuned out.
Yeah, I'm very extroverted, so I really wouldn't have any problem doing it other than my safety.
Lance says, who would want to go to Windsor? Exactly. That's where, business-wise, we're actually super screwed by some of these changes that are happening with, like, if the auto industry collapses in a big way, the supply chains are going to like permanently restructure, and Windsor may very well get bypassed because it just doesn't make sense to come all the way down here.
Mm.
It only makes sense if we are tied to the hip with the American economy, like we shouldn't be in the fucking first place.
You shouldn't want to be, because most empires fall within 250 years, and they mostly fall from over dominance and overextending themselves. And the writing is on the wall, my friend.
Yep. I just don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, whatever. But it is something I've been celebrating, that we happen to, as awful as the times are that we live in, there is a great amount of hope, and that I am grateful that I get to witness some of these legendary things happening, if they do indeed happen.
Can you read that one?
Windsor, Canadian Detroit, no? Yep, that's what it is. I gotta make my way over there. I haven't been to Detroit in
that is true. That's true, bad cookies. But they climb to be better than what they were before, you know?
Yeah, that's like a Black Swan event, ironically, the collapse of an empire. As much as it's about that time, there is no way to predict in the next couple of, if it's going to be a decade or less or more, but it's getting close.
So you want to start reading your article? Because if you're... Ooh, excuse me. Because I can go now and be more aggressive with my mom. Not aggressive. That's not a good word. Assertive.
Right. Yeah. Sure. We're already an hour and 11 minutes in, so now's probably a good time to get at it. So.
Okay. So
you're gonna...
everybody have, well, before you pull up your article, I just want to say everybody have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves, your community, your loved ones, each other. And look, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with my hair. Not just my mother. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with myself. Okay.
Yeah.
So
take that time.
All right. So
get yourself pretty.
Gotta pretty myself up. Gotta go right now. See you later, Michael. See you on Tuesday.
Thanks for being with me for the first part of the show.
Yeah, that was wonderful. It was good. Is Cookies leaving? Oh, Cookies is leaving. He gotta go pick somebody up from the airport. Bye, bye, Cookies.
Thanks for being with us, Cookies. We'll see you next time. Feel free to catch up the rest of the article on your own time. So,
don't forget to put the article up. Can I do that for you right now?
Oh yeah, I gotta put the link in the chat for anyone who might want to be.
You can start it. I got it.
Okay, cool. Whoops. Okay, so let's put this back up on the screen. All right, gotta make it bigger. So it's a little bit jarring to kind of jump in because it kind of broke the flow a little bit of where we were at, but it was getting a little too late anyway. So last week we were just touching on how the LaRouche movement has documented like official ties with Russian like government and Chinese government, like their think tanks and whatnot. And so this to me is something that's concerning, and I know that there's a lot of people in the independent media space who don't like me as much. I'm just gonna mock and dismiss my concerns as ignorant paranoia, whatever, or just kind of swallowing the Western imperialism and thinking of China as always the bad guy and whatnot. But I'm saying, your arguments kind of lose a whole lot of weight when they decide to associate with someone like Helga Zepp LaRouche. I think that LaRouche's track record, and then this organization, this attempt to continue the movement and to continue to uphold this legacy of this man, is particularly unacceptable for China if they want the world to believe that they are in some kind of opposition to America with this trade war and everything, right?
Let me ask you one
hypocrisy
thing
of a
real
high order.
quick,
Go ahead.
because you only have one article at the moment, right?
Yes, just the one.
So
That's
I'm
right.
just gonna put up your Substack.
Yeah, sure.
All right, there you go. All right.
And I appreciate.
So I'm out of here. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
You do the same. We'll talk before then. You know we will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much love. All right.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay. So where was I exactly here? So, yeah, I was going to say thank you to those of you who have subscribed already. I got a couple subscribers. I don't know if I made it over 10 subscribers yet, but I at least got like 5 or 6 or something. So, thank you all. You got to get started. Every little bit counts. Once I figure out this shit, whatever, maybe I'll do like a value for value thing. But for now, enjoy the content. It's for free. Yeah. So let's get back to this. This is from Russia with love to Syria with bloodlust. So Harvey Schlanger, which we were just talking about last week, he's a key LaRouche, a LaRoucheite, right? High, whatever, long-standing member. Schlanger also represents the LaRouche movement's direct channel to German foreign policy circles. So this is the thing about cheerleading Russia's war against Ukraine and Europe. Well, if Russia has this connection with Germany, you guys look like a bunch of assholes. So above his video of Harley Schlanger in an interview with Rainer Rothfuss, a member of the AfD party, a far-right party in Germany. The AfD did not start out as a far-right Trojan horse for neo-Nazis, but that is what it has become. If you don't think Germany and the AfD has a neo-Nazi problem, I've got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. So this argument that Russia's denazifying Ukraine falls apart completely when they've got a back channel to the alternative for Deutschland through the LaRouche party. Okay, these should be red flags for any self-claimed communist, right? Make no mistake, this is an actual Nazi movement. This is a quote from truthdig.com, alternative media, independent media. Make no mistake, this is an actual Nazi movement. The extremist leaders may have been purged, but the grassroots make up a working class movement based on opposition to Islam and the EU, constituting a new generation Nazi organization hiding in plain sight. So then maybe that's where they could kind of wiggle, like ACP kind of characters have some wiggle room here where they're saying, oh, it's a perfectly acceptable thing for Putin's, the Eurasianists to support the AfD in Germany because it's running on opposition to the EU. But the EU is Germany. It always has been, right? It's been the backbone of the EU, right? EU is the Fourth Reich. Germany is intending to evolve that into its next fucking phase, okay? Another person involved with the AfD, as well as the network of podcasts online that are connected to this LaRoucheite web of liars, is Kevork Almassian. And this is Marcus Fornmeyer, a member of the neo-Nazi Alternative for Germany, and Kevork Almassian, an important source in Max Blumenthal's Management of Savagery, supposedly attesting to the jihadist character of the opposition to Bashar al-Assad. Now, I just kind of feel the need to point out a little bit ironic, that it's a little bit funny to me. People like Dr. Nick Riviera, who's got all kinds of shit to say. Sorry, I got to make sure my dog doesn't unplug my computer. Got her head in the wrong spot. Okay. So what was I saying here? Mr. Nick Riviera there has all kinds of bad shit to say about Max Blumenthal, but then he's one of these people who's kind of like ACP sort of supporter or whatever, he's going to be like, Russia can do no wrong. Putin's my fucking guy, right? But recognize how you contradict yourself when your Max Blumenthal that you hate so much or whatever is in bed with people you like so much, okay? That means there's something wrong with your analysis of the situation. Just needed to kind of put that out there, because that guy's been being a fucking douchebag, and he deserves a little bit of a fucking being checked every now and again, you know? And I'm talking about Dr. Nick being a douchebag. Almassian was, or still is, I guess, a prominent pro-Assad propagandist until the fall of the regime at the hands of the American and Zionist puppet former al-Qaeda leader Zelensky of West Asia, Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, also known as Abu Mohammed al-Jilani. He has a popular podcast called Syriana Analysis. That's Kevork Almassian. He has also been living in Germany under asylum, even though he sought employment by the AFD, working for such illustrious and noble characters such as Bjorn Höcke, who have managed to turn the AFD into the second largest party in the Bundestag by running on anti-immigrant and Islamophobic rhetoric and policy promises. So it's someone like Kevork Almassian is very skilled at making someone who accuses him of whatever being a far-right kind of person, as you know, they do the tactics the far right teaches them, which is to ridicule someone like me who comes out and says whatever. No, this guy's a fucking problem, right? There's too many people who treat his analysis like it's extremely solid, whatever, respectful analysis, but it comes from a fucking fascist, okay? So what's happened there is you've got the fascist rhetoric being normalized by a clean face. Okay, a man with a nice, whatever, trimmed, properly groomed beard and whatnot, right? He wears the suit. He with a nice clothes. He doesn't come with the bum kind of shitty clothes that I gotten, right? So you go ahead and you listen to your clean cut, whatever, fascist, and then you think whatever that their realist conservative opinions about how all these politics are unfolding are really accurate, whatever, while they have got it completely wrong, because the fascists don't really understand, like, the rejection of like the Leninist understanding of imperialism and everything, whatever. That's what makes your analysis of geopolitics fucking wrong. But that's what everyone is doing now. We're all running with this fucking realpolitik, whatever, Henry Kissinger style. Like, reality doesn't matter. We can kind of just be as sadistic as we want, because playing the fucking great game of imperialism is the most rational thing for a nation to do. And that is essentially what you end up getting from these kinds of political pundits. That's really all they do. You get like a John Mearsheimer kind of international politics is like an anarchic kind of struggle between nation states and whatnot. And that is like a rejection of Marxist analysis and everything. And it's become very popular to treat Marxist analysis like it's completely garbage and whatnot. But that is exactly why people don't really have any understanding of how to win against imperialism, because you don't defeat American imperialism by supporting Eurasianist imperialism. That's my little fucking rant on that. So another connection, these are just links demonstrating the Nazi character of this Bjorn Höcke and the AFD. Another connection worth mentioning here is Alexander Dugin, yet again. It seems that Kevork Almassian and Dugin were at the very least co-authors in the Journal of Eurasian Affairs, Volume 2, Number 1, if not co-authors in other works. I did not go digging for more. I found that this source, along with all the other things I was sourcing in this article, was enough information. But we've already covered enough, I think. I hope I've established the bona fide credentials of Dugin genuinely being a neo-fascist, a neo-Russian Nazi. And this Eurasian affairs, like, that's what it's all about, okay? That's the sheepskin for the Russian fascism. And that's the important thing that we're not recognizing about the shift, whatever, that's happened with Russia over the past, 30, 40 years, okay? They are cashing in on the nostalgia and the goodwill that was earned by the Soviet Union, and they are they're just behaving with imperialist kind of foreign policy and everything, and people are missing that because they are somehow believing in the nostalgia or whatever that Russia is more what it used to be, when it's really kind of turned into the opposite of what it used to be. So this is here some more. This is Kevork Almassian with Jackson Hinkle discussing Al-Jilani, and then Kevork Almassian with Scott Ritter, Kevork Almassian with Glenn Deason. Go to Glenn Deason's channel, you will see how this network is very much a well-disciplined, well-coordinated, organized thing. Okay, it runs like a smooth fucking oiled machine. It runs like it's been set up by fucking intelligence services rather than grassroots fucking people like me who would not be able to design such an effective fucking network. Okay? And they all do the same, whatever, multipolarity talking points that nobody besides, I feel like I'm the first fucking person to recognize this. Everyone else who's like a socialist, communist, whatever, independent media commentator, whatever, treats multipolarity like it's a positive force in the world, and they don't recognize that it comes from Grossrom, fucking Carl Schmitt. Okay, that is not something that you can do the mental gymnastics as saying whatever that communist China is compatible with Carl Schmitt's fucking ideology. He was a jurist from Nazi Germany. Okay, you don't take his fucking theories and put it into practice and still get to be a communist. That is fucking fatal, ideologically fatal, okay? Kevork Almassian's career and associations serve as a compelling case study that perfectly illustrates the Red-Brown Alliance dynamic, which is tactically elided, which is disappeared by them even as they deploy it, tying together the Assad government, Russian Eurasianism, and elements of the German far right in an ostensibly anti-imperialist, anti-colonial struggle for national liberation. This kind of broke my heart when I recognized this shit, but all of this, like the media that's been talking about we should be supporting the Assad government and whatnot, I don't think that, like, they didn't, it's a limited hangout that happened there. They didn't really, nobody understood the Eurasianist angle as being a fascist influence on the Assad government that was doomed to undermine it, whatever. They were being led down the fucking garden path to slaughter. And guess what? The Syrian fucking government, where Syria is destroyed as a result of trusting Wagner and the Eurasianists, because the Eurasianists, whatever, they're trying the same thing with Iran. They're trying to act like this ideology that they have, this anti-communist, whatever, reestablishment of the old Russian Empire kind of thing. They want to take back the territories that they lost in a way. And so, but they want to make themselves seem like they're compatible with Turkey and Iran and Syria and whatnot, right? But their interests are fundamentally incompatible, whatever, because of the Eurasianist project that they're fucking elaborating on, right? They've actually, historically, they've already been at it for decades. Historically, they've kind of demonstrated that they were arguing that Eurasianism was not compatible with the Iranian kind of civilization, because they're like a separate people. And so, but then they're inventing like a fucking mythology with northern Iran, whatever, like a sedentary, the Aryan Iranians and the fucking nomadic Iranians. It's a whole fucking thing I gotta get in, do another even more work on, do another episode on it somehow, whatever. But trust me when I tell you, these Eurasianists are no fucking good, okay? So tying together the Assad government, Russian Eurasianism, and elements of the German far right in an ostensibly anti-imperialist, anti-colonial struggle for national liberation. Furthermore, Almassian serves as a tangible human link that demonstrates the overlap of interests between the Assad government's nationalist project and the anti-immigrant nationalist project of Europe's far right, all facilitated by connections within a broader Eurasianist network. Almassian is a Syrian propagandist who successfully posed as a refugee to gain asylum in Germany. While there, he actively campaigned for the AfD, advocating for the deportation of other Syrian refugees. I guess they were too leftist, too liberal. His asylum status was ultimately revoked by German authorities due to his vehement defense of the Assad regime, coupled with his claims that the security situation in Syria was stable. So put his fucking foot in his mouth with his hypocrisy. but he will sit there, I bet you, or whatever, and he'll look like a very polished, whatever, fucking political pundit. Buyer beware if you watch that shit, okay? In spite of the vehement opposition to Zionism of Syria's nationalist project, engagement in this kind of racial nationalism of claiming Syria is stable enough to return in spite of the real instability of the region due to the colonially imposed borders and national territories is deeply hypocritical, considering this mirrors Europe's anti-Semitic motivation of exporting the problem of the Jewish people to Palestine with a segregationist mentality of Grossraum, which gave birth to the Eurasianist conception of multipolarity. Only this time it is the problem of the Syrian or Muslim people, who, if they had just their own greater Syria, would be happy not to come to Germany anymore. Okay, that is where, as much as they claim to be anti-imperialist, they have a fascist fucking motivation for their so-called anti-imperialism, which fucking invalidates their claims to anti-imperialism. Okay? But I'm the new guy or whatever. I don't have no credentials. I didn't go to school or whatever. I don't have any fucking friends. Or I'm not tied in with this corrupt circle of people who are going to then launder my fucking reputation for me. I spoke earlier of the National Salvation Front of Russia and demonstrated the participation of Eurasianists in the orchestration of that Red-Brown alliance. But there was also a National Salvation Front in Lebanon, which predated the manifestation of the NSF in Russia by about a decade. The National Salvation Front was a Lebanese political alliance which was founded during the Lebanese Civil War in opposition to Amin Gemayel's Social Democratic Kataib Phalangist government and the agreed conditions of Israeli troops withdrawal in 1983. I acknowledge this is an incredibly difficult position that Lebanon was in, and that they were left with not many options, but it seems like Red-Brown Alliance was the option that they went with at this time, and that was not something I could have done if I was in their position, I believe. I don't know. It was considered the parliamentary wing of the Lebanese National Resistance Front militia, and it was indeed a Red-Brown alliance between the Lebanese Communist Party, the Organization for Communist Action, and the Syrian Social Nationalist Party, as well as the Syrian organization of the Ba'ath Party and the Arab Democratic Party. And I would say, maybe, is there a reason why the Communist Party is not as popular in Lebanon? It's not as significant. Maybe this will be a reason why. So in effect, the left in Lebanon, caught between the rock and the hard place of Israel and their own Phalangist government, was compelled to turn to the fascist enemy of their enemy, the SSNP, in a desperate bid to use fascists to free themselves from the tyranny of fascists. The Kataeb Party was founded in 1936 by Pierre Gemayel, apparently after he was impressed by the Berlin Olympics put on by the Nazis. The movement's uniforms originally included brown shirts, and members used the Roman salute. The SSNP was founded in 1932 by Antoun Sade, an early admirer of Hitler. The party was a Levantine clone of the Nazi Party in almost every respect, with a similar ideology, paramilitary structure, leader cult, and a flag patterned after the Nazi flag. Sade had a dream of Greater Syria, which is no less fascist than Netanyahu and company's Greater Israel. This is a deep structural hypocrisy that exposes the bankruptcy of the right-wing solutions to the problems created by the right wing. The SSNP, while initially opposing the Ba'athist government in Syria, failed to overthrow it in a coup d'etat, and their leader and founder was executed. The SSNP made a pragmatic, tactical shift to the left and went from an opposition to a client and instrument of the Assad government, carrying out a similar function for the Assad government as the Wagner Group did for Russia. Ironically, going from right to left, unlike the LaRouchites who went from left to right. But notice how they're in bed with the Eurasianists, who are in bed with the LaRouchites. So whether they go from left to right or right to left or whatever, what they really were was right to begin with, all along. So that's their fucking swastika flag. Let me just check in on you guys here briefly, make sure that I'm not having any audio issues. Good. Yeah, sorry, I'm not really going to be able to engage with your comments in the chat as much. I just kind of wanted to finish reading this article so we don't have to do a part 4. So I'm just going to try and steamroll through, and hopefully you guys enjoy the uninterrupted reading as much as our extra commentary is fun, so, or important. So all of this is further reinforced by the fact that there is there is a documented connection between the Syrian Social Nationalist Party and Russian Eurasianists. The connection is not just a modern phenomenon. It is rooted in a shared ideological history and reinforced through concrete collaborative activities. In 2007, an edition of the Eurasianist magazine Geopolitica featured contributions from the SSNP and the Lebanese branch of the Ba'ath Party, alongside Eurasianist figures like Claudio Muti and Tiberio Graziani. This is where their anti-Westernism, their anti-liberalism has actually, in my opinion, left them vulnerable to going too far to the right in opposition of liberalism. Because if they're also in opposition to communism, not that the Ba'ath Party was, but like I'm saying, the Iranian regime was a revolution, not the West nor the East. So it was explicitly a rejection of communism, which leads them open to Eurasianist fascist influence. My humble opinion. Go ahead and tear me apart for it. The SSNP's presence has been noted at international far-right gatherings. For example, the SSNP was listed among attendees at a major far-right conference, the Axis for Peace Colloquium, in 2005, alongside groups like the Russian Imperial Movement and Rodina. The RIM, the Russian Imperial Movement, is the neo-Nazi, neo-monarch, like the pro-monarchy movement in Russia. Okay? That's important to recognize. The SSNP fascists in Syria. Before the outbreak of the Syrian Revolution, Isa El Ayubi, the Undersecretary of Foreign Affairs of the SSNP, who is presently the Vice President of the Voltaire Network, attended the Axis for Peace conference by conspiracist Thierry Meyssan in 2005. The SSNP and the Lebanese branch of the Ba'ath Party appear to have contributed interviews to an edition of a Eurasianist magazine, Geopolitica, in 2007, to which Claudio Muti, Tiberio Graziani, and Webster Tarpley also contributed to. The unsurprising result was that since the People's Uprising started in Syria, Russian, Iranian, and Hezbollah media consistently ran a number of conspiracy theorists more or less close to the fascist network, including William Engdahl, Webster Tarpley, who was in Syria in 2011, Chostudovsky, if you're not remembering this name from last week, that's a LaRoucheite, that's a French LaRoucheite, Thierry Meyssan, and Kevin Barrett, who immediately branded the uprising as a Western plot. William Engdahl and Webster Tarpley are former members of the LaRouche movement. And that's just the end of that quote. That's from the anarchistlibrary.org. Why would a lot of communists reject that outright? Because it comes from the communists. But to me, as someone who's always been partial to the anarcho-communist tendency, I think that is the way to go. We need to bury the hatchets with the anarchists instead of try to deepen the grievances and be divided and conquered and whatnot. To me, it makes a lot more sense to be trying to make inroads with the anarchists than it does with the fascists. I mean, call me fucking crazy. Helga Zepp LaRouche was also prominently present at this conference, not simply as a spectator, but as a speaker and participant, of course. There she is right there. At the Axis for Peace conference in Brussels on November 18th, left to right, Helga Zepp LaRouche, General René Vargas Patsos, Thierry Meyssan of Réseau Voltaire, James Petrus, Russia's General Leonid Ivashov, and India's General Vinod Saigal. So there's Hindutva fascists there too, right? Yeah. A bit of backstory and context for my inquiry. I got my start. This is where we're getting to the end. Actually, gratefully, I don't think this last part maybe is not as long as the first two parts. So maybe this will be over shortly, but we'll see. I got my start in independent media when a channel called Revolutionary Blackout Network put out an ad during their show seeking to recruit a new group of junior podcast hosts to expand the ranks and reach of the RBN crew, or so we thought. I know a lot of you guys actually, since you're regular viewers, you kind of actually know our backstory, but for those new subscribers to the Substack and show who don't really know where the fuck we came from, this is our little retelling of our origin story. Hope you like it. So it's too much to get into in full here, but it turned out that there was some division and dissent blowing up behind the scenes of the RBN channel that actually manifested in one of the RBN members putting up that ad apparently without the knowledge or agreement of the others. This is what we were told by them. A sister channel was created under the name Revolutionary Blackout Network Long Beach. Hell of a mouthful. I always thought that was a terrible fucking name. Later called Revolutionary Blackout Network Inland Empire, an even worse name, now called Unplug the Empire, wiped clean of the content we contributed in any association with us or RBN. Yeah, that's CJ still out there, by the way. For about 6 months, we produced content for them with our training wheels on, and then all of a sudden the rug was pulled, and Compton J, the person who recruited us, was kicked out of the RBN group, and all 6 of us. There were 3 new podcasts with 2 co-hosts each, Beyond the Arc, Social Contract, and Noteworthy. Excuse me. Were dumped rather unceremoniously on the spot in a sort of collective punishment for naively believing that the people at RBN actually practice what they preach. So this is where I put a link to the Social Contract because they're still going. So check them out if you're interested. And Noteworthy, this is for those people who maybe come across the Substack who don't know about the YouTube channel. So I put that in there. There were some claims of misogyny and bigotry directed at Savvy Sabs at the time, Sabrina Salvati. This was offered as a kind of last straw justification for exiling Compton J. However, after conducting this investigation into the ludicrous LaRoucheite influence that was brought to bear on RBN, Compton J's contempt and finger-pointing towards Savvy appears more understandable to me now, if not justified, in my opinion. This is in no way any kind of defense of misogyny, by the way. I'm just recognizing how those kinds of accusations can often be effective means of throwing someone under the bus. And maybe sometimes people, when they get provoked and frustrated, even though it's wrong, just like I sometimes throw out the word retarded like I shouldn't, whatever. When you piss people off or whatever, they revert to that shit, that anti-woke shit that they are fucking raised on, right? So I don't know. Compton J's fucking whatever you call it, his Unplug the Empire channel, he was trying to get into some of that manosphere shit, in which case it's probably a little bit both of this shit going on, right? Compton J was probably misogynistic in his own way, potentially. I wasn't fucking there, right? I didn't see it happen personally. This is hearsay, so I'm repeating it as hearsay. And I think also at the same time, Savvy has been fucking... I've caught her out fully or whatever. When you try to ask her, why are you having Scott Ritter on so many times? Why are you having whatever Larry Johnson on so many times, whatever? They're not really wanting to explain it, okay? And even Bad Cookies was telling us that he was getting banned, whatever, for asking questions and whatnot. That's not really, we're not really harassing you or anything. We're asking you, when you call yourself an independent journalist, to be an independent journalist, right? To fucking have some integrity or whatever, to show your, to explain yourself, in a way that actually makes sense. So anyway, this is where I worry that I'm going to come across as just somebody who's like really fucking emotional, but there's a whole lot of bullshit and backstabbing going on. It's kind of hard not to get emotional about this shit, whatever. And these people are like Savvy come out of it with a lot of people thinking that they look really fucking clean. But actually what I've found out is that they're pretty fucking nasty when they want to be. So pretty undialectical, I would add. Savvy, like a lot of people in the modern world, has something of a fetish for privacy. So definitive proof of her allegiances and motives is obfuscated by personal design. However, it was Savvy's sycophantic serial mutual validation through association with Scott Ritter, Larry Johnson, Ray McGovern, etc., that betrays her intentions and her true colors. And I said earlier in like the first part of this, whatever, way back when we first released the article, that I think that this has a lot to do with Savvy's husband. Probably was really the person who was recruited by this organization to begin with, and it was maybe Savvy who was convinced to do this by her husband. I don't know. I shouldn't really even get into that speculation because without any kind of definitive proof, right? There's like shit you say about people publicly or whatever, they like to come after you for it, whatever, with legal fucking means. You guys go ahead and try and do that shit or whatever. I don't have any way of defending myself in any kind of legal fucking matter because I'm more lumpen proletariat, right? And so you guys with all your fucking middle class ways, savvy, you got all the fucking ammunition to shut me up, right? If I fucking put my foot wrong and slander you somehow with defamation. But you guys are a bunch of fucking assholes. Trying to pretend like to the world that you're some kind of revolutionaries while you sit there with the CIA fucking creeps day after day after day. Fucking kidding me. Anyway, back to the article. When you slander us as social democrats as the excuse to dissociate yourself from us while simping for dead-end Green Party politics, Jill Stein and Butch Ware campaign, and LaRouche candidates at the same fucking time, by the way. Jose Vega, Anthony Aguilar, and Diane Sayre, okay? You shoot yourself in the foot while laundering social capital, while betraying your Marxist-Leninist principles. But of course, you don't really actually have those principles to begin with. You were just grifters to begin with. You didn't really betray your principles, you just betrayed us. By embracing these fringe LaRouche and bourgeois green candidates, ironically enough, you can kind of flip those around and it still works. You alienate your own base and destroy your credibility. When you distance yourself from us, when we try to subscribe to and support your movement while cozying up to climate change deniers and social democratic progressive environmentalists, you throw out your baby of vanguardism in favor of the bathwater of tailism. And you completely fucking invalidate your claims either way. You don't get to be a climate change denier while supporting the environmentalists. And you don't get to be a person who actually cares about the environment when you support climate change deniers. So that was the dumbest thing possible you could do by supporting them at the same fucking time. But they think you're dumb enough not to recognize what they're fucking doing. So that's Sabby with Jose Vega, right? And we've seen her with fucking with Diane Sayre here and Jill Stein, right? And Butch Ware. And so they're just giving you options, guys, or whatever, right? They're telling the public what third parties are available. They're being neutral, right? They didn't pick a side or whatever, right? But they consistently, whatever, put their thumb on the scales by having these people on over and over and over again, right? And they made all kinds of rhetoric about how they're very anti-duopoly. And so that, what does that mean? That third party is the only way. So what does that mean? One party, one third party, not go after every other party at the same time or whatever, and completely whatever undermine all the third parties, whatever, by not telling which party to support, whatever. It's ridiculous, right? This is where I wonder if they got paid to do this shit, because if they did it for free, that was pretty fucking embarrassing. So this is Sabby's interview with, what's his name? Diane Sayre, right? And this was embarrassing or whatever. They get right into some of this shit about the Schiller Institute, and they talk about LaRouche and everything. And apparently Sabrina doesn't know enough about the history of LaRouche himself. She should have done more pushing back on her in this interview. But she was pretty softball on that. So there you go. Scott Ritter. Larry Johnson. And then the Duran guys, right? This is where just go ahead and check out these channels for yourself and look to see how it's always the same faces on all these different networks. Okay. That's not just simple cooperation, right? It's a little too organized. So now Nick and JB. The catalyst for the falling out between JB Font and Nick Cruz, two of the other core members of RBN, only further demonstrates the toxic influence of this lingering LaRoucheism and the disastrous effects it has on revolutionary organizing. One of the reasons why the LaRoucheites still exist as a political force to this day is precisely because the average person is not sure whether to take them seriously or dismiss them as a bad joke. This has essentially become a tactic of the far right in general, as a way to normalize and rationalize the poison they're smuggling into the well, a political discourse under cover of the deflection, it's just a joke. This is where actually, what's his name? Goddamn. I can never remember people's names when I need it. Fucking weed. Anyway, Chris Hedges. Chris Hedges just did a piece, some kind of article I think he wrote about this issue, kind of validating what I'm saying here, and it was independently done. He had no idea of my work, I'm pretty sure. This is very relatively new, so I feel like nobody's read this except for a handful of people. And so I wrote this criticism of kind of Nick Cruz's flippant dismissal of it's just a joke kind of thing, and then somebody like Chris Hedges, who's been fucking activist, whatever, political commentator for decades, happens to vindicate what I say. Just saying. I'm just going to kind of rub that in a little bit. My bad. Like chemotherapy, appeal to probability, it's got to get worse before it gets better, right? So what makes humor particularly useful? This is a big, long quote, I believe. Yeah. What makes humor particularly useful to the far right is, as Raul Perez writes, the meta-discourse of it's just a joke, which justifies and excuses content that might otherwise be socially unacceptable. For example, racist or anti-gay joking is recast as merely, or at least primarily, a means of enjoyment, wherein the ironic distance afforded by humor is an attempt to shield the joke teller from accusations of racism or anti-gay bigotry or anti-Semitic bigotry. You fucking clowns with your goy shit. I'm fucking tired of you. Guys act like I'm the one with a purity fetish or whatever. When you guys are up to this exact fucking tactic, it's not that you're not that clever or whatever. We see right through you. Okay, fuck you. I am pretty humorless in comparison to most or whatever, but you know, I still have a sense of humor, whatever, as you can see in the way I wrote much of this article. Okay, in this way, humor enables individuals to say things that might otherwise be considered inappropriate, testing the acceptability of exclusionary and supremacist sentiments presented as unserious and therefore harmless. At the same time, it serves to normalize such sentiments by signaling to audiences that these expressions are or should be acceptable. Humor serves to test the waters of social acceptability and make exclusionary and supremacist discourses such as racism, transphobia, and homophobia, and sexism more palatable to wider audiences by presenting it as fun. Well, the jokes get old anyways, no matter how much fun you guys have with it. So, importantly, humor and jokes are social constructs. They are indicated by the claims of the participants rather than our aesthetic or moral preferences as authors. So this is where I included both the video from Nick and the video from JB for context. This is particularly ironic to hear coming from Nick Cruz because of one of the things, what was I saying? That it's just a joke, whatever. Like, it's particularly ironic to hear coming from Nick because one of the things that I appreciated and resonated with from his political analysis was his contempt for the reactionary American and or the mainstream media, which they sought to black out by ritual slaughter more or less every day, as deeply unserious. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically what I appreciated from Nick Cruz resonated with his contempt for the reactionary American because he was ridiculing them for being deeply unserious. And now he has become a caricature of himself. He has become what he used to eviscerate, whatever, with his analysis, right? It's where I'm sad to come out so hard against Nick or whatever. I really did kind of, he was like one of my heroes, right? But never meet your heroes, they say, eh? So if you watch the Why RBN Was Doomed to Fail video above, you will hear out of the babe's mouth, anything that is not built on the revolutionary Marxist discipline, building a party is not mutual aid, it's charity. This is when he was having his temper tantrum about this, okay? This is a pretty strong candidate for a textbook example of a purity fetish as far as I'm concerned. Another is, fam, if you can't tell jokes with your comrades, you're not comrades. If you're willing to cancel someone over a joke, we are not comrades. That is a very clear black and white purity fetish. You're with me or you're against me. Fucking absolutist bullshit. Okay, that is, if you're not with me or you're against me, is a black and white fallacy Real Marxist build parties is a no true Scotsman fallacy, and if you can't take my jokes, you're not a communist implies a denying the antecedent fallacy. If P, then Q. If not P, then not Q. So, because that's one that's always goes half said. If he had said, if you can't take my jokes, you're not a communist. If you can take my jokes, you are a communist. That would be the literal example of a denying the antecedent fallacy. But when you say only half of it, it kind of seems like it makes sense. But if you said the whole fucking thing, he himself would not feel like it makes any sense. Because obviously, just because you take whatever his jokes doesn't make you a communist. That's very easily one way to be a fucking infiltrator or whatever, is to just tell people what they want to hear. Laugh at the jokes or whatever as if they're funny. And then you're one of the trustworthy ones. Because you're not really having like that much fucking operational security. And I don't think you are, by the way. You got like fucking all these people in the, like the ACP or whatever. They let in all the reactionaries or whatever. They did not have any operational security, making sure they didn't let any fascists in, whatever. Fox is running the hen house. So, also it needs to be said, if organizing based on race is a dead end, working with Eurasianists is a dead end. Okay, this is, I think, my bigger point for Nick, that he really, I would appreciate if he could take it away. Eurasianists embrace ethno-pluralism through multipolarity, which is organizing based on race, presented as separate but equal under a multipolar world order. Therefore, working with Eurasianists is, in practice, working with a race-based political project. That's my fucking mic drop for you, okay? That's my banger. If I had to make a comparison with France, I would say that he's an Alain de Benoist, who has the audience of an Eric Zemmour and the influence of a Bernard-Henri Lévy. This is from geopolitica.ru about little article about interview about Alexander Dugin's his similarity with the French far right, whatever, neo-fascist, right? So, is Dugin inspired by Russian or Western writers? Who are his principal inspirations? This is asking an editor who, like a European editor, I believe, who is republishing, who's given permission explicitly by Dugin to republish his works in Europe, right? So they're fucking allies. He asks this guy, is Dugin inspired by Russian or Western writers? Who are his principal inspirations? Among the Russians, there are the Eurasianists I just mentioned. Among the Westerners, Jean Thiriart, Alain de Benoist, Julius Evola. If you're a well-read enough communist, you recognize Julius Evola as one of the most abhorrent fucking fascists of all time, who's literally farther to the right than Hitler. And that's who Dugin supports. And so if you support Dugin's multipolarity agenda, you're essentially not that far off from supporting Julius Evola. That's the thing about like the fucking religious fascist angle today. That's the thing about Russia's holy war against Ukraine. That's how they drum up support for it, right? Among the far right, they appreciate people like Julius Evola because they have this kind of more spiritual fascism. Okay, that's what's the thing that kind of distinguishes someone like Dugin from someone like Hitler, right? Is that they have a more like Christo-fascist kind of spiritualism about their fucking beliefs, right? And that's where the MAGA folks in America, wherever, these evangelists, these Zionists, okay, they have that same spiritual fascism, wherever. I'm sure they have the same kind of, like Steve Bannon, they have the same respect for Julius Evola, okay? So there's too many connections here for you to deny. And you can deny it if you want or whatever, but it's just going to make you actually, it's just going to make you look like weak, like you can't fucking face the truth. So go ahead, try. So this is not me canceling Nick, by the way, or lecturing him like he's some kind of young boy. This is me helping. This is me giving guidance. It might be a little bit too harsh to be considered guidance, but this is how Nick fucking likes to play, right? That's how he likes to condescend and talk down or whatever and talk shit to people all the time, right? It's always this like fucking polemics, right? It's the dialectics of polemics as opposed to a more kind of calm, rational discussion, right? So so be it, you know. I am also imperfect. I too need guidance and assistance and critique of my work, so feel free, by the way. Let us learn from such things and apply and receive constructive criticism, not dismiss people's principled objections and boundary enforcements as backstabbing or liberalism or cancel culture. Because I really feel I didn't get into JB's response, but I don't really feel the need to critique him as much as I did Nick, because I felt that Nick was ultimately the one in the wrong to break ties over this, and that he mischaracterized JB as some kind of liberal cancel culture mob, whatever, indulger. And no, JB is still a comrade. He is still a communist, and he's still radical. Okay, you should apologize. Conclusion. I probably would have never figured all this shit out if it weren't for George Galloway with his "come on if you're hard enough" invitation in response to my questioning about Garland Nixon. I haven't called in, but now that this article is finished, I'd be happy to accept an interview. I ain't going to fucking call in just to talk to him or whatever. He wants to actually face this shit. I need to say at this moment, I'm pretty sure that the section that I wrote on George Galloway didn't make it into the article, because the article kind of got wiped a little bit because it was on the Substack, and then I had the computer like fell asleep or whatever, got shut off. So I had to do some rewriting, but I did have a section on George Galloway, and I'm just going to briefly mention about how he supported Nigel Farage's party. He officially endorsed them. I forget exactly, a couple of years ago now. It wasn't recently. But Nigel Farage has the connections with the LaRouche people, okay? He's been interviewed like by the Schiller Institute people, whatever. He's endorsed their worldview and stuff. And they have connections too with like the fucking InfoWars, Alex Jones, right? And so George Galloway has compromised himself by, like, already we could see it with his support for the Tate brothers and whatnot. And he was supporting of the MAGA movement. And he has these interviews. Garland Nixon is a regular contributor and whatnot. And so he's clearly intimately aware of the LaRouche movement, but he doesn't really ever talk about them on his show or whatever. He doesn't identify the conflicts of interest that he has, okay? So don't support George Galloway. Don't support the Communist Party of whatever, Workers' Party of Britain, that's his party, because he is an opportunist, whatever. He's a pragmatist, right? He's willing to backstab the working class and get in bed with these fucking far-right LaRoucheite assholes to maintain whatever I think his fucking ego at this point. He should retire from politics. He doesn't need to be in politics anymore. He's already had, or whatever, a long, some people would say he's got a legacy worth retiring with already. He doesn't need to do any more to be respected. I find his legacy is very much open to criticism with some of this information that most people don't know about and whatnot. But you got plenty of money, you got plenty of fame, you got plenty of success, whatever, and you've made plenty of mistakes. So get the fuck out of the way and let the youth lead, because it's our time now. You boomers have fucked up enough. Get the fuck out, George Galloway. Thank you. Okay. I might never have investigated if it weren't for Caleb Maupin blocking me for asking about Hazaldin, or if Garland Nixon hadn't done the same for asking about Caleb Maupin, or if Midwestern Marks hadn't booted me from their Discord server in a reactionary purge in response to my choice not to crucify Danny Shaw for calling out their cultish tendencies, which they fucking picked up from LaRouche. All right? It's quite clear. You recognize it's an echo of the LaRouche movement, the way that they turned the ACP, that they use those tactics with intent, okay? To push people like me out, to make sure that it's not a fucking leftist organization, okay? I might not have known I was onto something if it weren't for nice news suit loving Matt Weinglass's Hollywood vanity, appropriating the aesthetic of homelessness, calling his channel the Homeless Left, when he isn't really homeless, and he isn't really left. Matt and Garland Nixon are about as tight with each other as Garland and Joti, or Garland and Galloway, or Garland and Jamarl Thomas. How non-tribal of him. His co-host Jay Scott, by the way, I'm pretty sure wiped his Twitter account in preemptive response to this article, literally, because I was foolish enough to kind of talk a little bit of shit in their live stream chat. Some of these people, whatever, be like, why are you being a fucking LaRoucheite kind of thing, whatever. I kind of tipped them off a little bit that I was working on this. And so, maybe Jay Scott wiped his Twitter account for some other reason, but people don't typically delete their accounts, right, over this kind of shit. Like, it wasn't even made private. It did not exist, okay? And so go ahead and tell me why you deleted your account, Jay Scott. I don't believe you. I don't have the evidence, but I have the memory. I saw you retweeting fucking Helga's shit. I know you are what you fucking are not able to. You don't have the fucking balls to be honest to the public about who you are, okay? So fuck you, you LaRoucheites. I made the mistake of not screenshooting the evidence of his retweets of Helga's account and whatnot when I had the chance. But how Glomar responsive of him, okay? He can neither confirm nor deny that he's a LaRoucheite and doesn't need to anymore. Whatever. If Rathbone hadn't been such an anti-Semitic cuck of the right-wing media, trolls on social media in pursuit of clout, validation, and perhaps revenge for his perceived goyness, if he weren't such an unserious clown who happens to read Lenin or Stalin on stream every once in a while, maybe I'd still be laughing, because I thought he was funny. Then I started to realize how all of his jokes are anti-Semitic, almost all of them, right? He just can't stop fucking punching on his favorite fucking punching bag. That's all it's about, is reinforcing those fucking dog whistles. And it's not funny anymore if it ever was. And if we're laughing at it, whatever, it's because we have some fucking latent fucking discriminatory subconscious or whatever shit, implicit biases we should probably purge instead of fucking enforce and reinforce and fucking validate. So if Kit Cabello from Heartlands Media didn't make the unforced error of going out of his way to describe the assassination of Charlie Kirk as a horrific tragedy, showing his true colors as an idiot and a fascist apologist, or being one of Jose Vega's staunchest supporters, I might have let sleeping dogs lie. This is where I'm getting really fucking petty, all right? But fuck you people. And if Due Dissidents didn't support Diane Sayre's presidential bid, I might just be a bitter troll with a personal vendetta and an axe to grind for not being one of the cool kids. If they all hadn't come together for the post-duopoly show, I might not have such a long memory. But that long memory has served me well, and without the cleodynamic clout that comes from the effective application of the method of historical materialism, I might have written much here but said little to nothing. Okay, I just feel like they targeted RBN from the beginning. Took them a few years, but guess what, guys? You got what you fucking wanted. You took them farther to the left of you, and you made them politically irrelevant, and they were dragged to the right. Good for you, you fucking pieces of shit. I probably would have never come across all this information and learned all of this historical materialism if it weren't for the LaRoucheites' dogged insistence on attempting to colonize, disgrace, and distort virtually every channel in the anti-imperialist independent media ecosystem on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, etc. While their strategy has been undoubtedly successful, it was apparently too successful. They are victims of their own success. All I have done here is illustrate that they have been given enough rope to hang themselves, and that the left is still revolutionary, still Marxist, still Leninist enough to extricate ourselves from tailing these lemmings. We can abandon this sinking ship of cannibal rats and stop being the counterweight, performing the tightrope walk of carrying water for fascists instead of letting them hang. I kind of mixed my metaphors up there, but I thought it worked out pretty well. The difference between a tactical alliance of convenience and the strategic fusion of political projects is real and essential. Any realist worth their salt knows this, and any communist worth their anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism, anti-fascism, and anti-capitalism cannot refute this without dabbling in idealism. Any alliance that normalizes fascist-adjacent forces is a betrayal. Any alliance that blurs the distinction between anti-imperialism and fascism is a betrayal. Any alliance that requires suspending anti-fascist critique is not an alliance, it is capitulation. The Primakov doctrine failed not because some members were too ideological and others were pragmatic enough. It failed, albeit among other reasons, because all members were ideological in mutually incompatible ways. And the claim that any of them were less ideological than the other reflects the ideology of the speaker. And that, by the way, is the same reason why the alliance between Russia and America and Great Britain was never going to last once Nazi Germany was defeated. And that's the same kind of like fragile, incompatible alliance that they have erected with the BRICS through the Primakov Doctrine logic, or lack thereof. The flaw was the idea that strategic interests can be cleanly separated from worldviews. What is ironic here is that the Primakov Doctrine and BRICS ends up being an example of treating cooperation with ideological adversaries as a means of avoiding the pitfalls of a purity fetish, and yet the flaw is in and of itself the very idea that strategic interests can be cleanly separated from worldviews, implying that such an attempt would be a purity fetish. We can either accept that the purity fetish cannot be overcome, which would be an absurd, fatalist, and unnecessary capitulation, or we can be dialectical instead of postmodernist, meaning we can try to decide the purity fetish is overcome only when everyone stops taking their own purity seriously. That's the postmodernist elevation of unseriousness over seriousness, in a way similar to elevating subjectivity over objectivity, like the worldview that objective fact is a purity fetish is basically like taking postmodernism to the extreme, right? So we can decide that the purity fetish is overcome only when we all stop taking our purity seriously, which is kind of what the MAGA fucking ACP assholes are doing, right? They're trying to be like so unserious as to not have a purity fetish anymore. But what that does is it makes them more postmodernist than it does Marxist-Leninist, in my humble opinion. Or we can do the hard work of transforming the worldviews of those we need to work with instead of bracketing them and beating around the bush. Yeah, we might actually have to have those hard discussions that actually gets people to actually change their mind. That might be the actual way to actually achieve revolution. Maybe. Or I could be wrong. But we would have to kind of, confront my ideas, whatever, to prove that they're wrong, like I've tried to do with the ideas of the LaRoucheites, right? You can tell that they're wrong if you critique them with enough rigor. They fall apart under the sustained pressure. So if interests cannot be separated from worldviews, then the only way to achieve stable cooperation is to change what the worldviews are. But that is not the appealing approach, because that's hard work, and we are always looking for the path of least resistance, or whatever. We want to cheat. We don't want to actually put in the hard work, right? We want to do accelerationism. We don't want to take as long as it takes to make sure it happens, whatever, without whatever ever coming unraveled, right? Interestingly, the word serious has two sets of Latin stems. Hey. Sorry. Interestingly, the word serious has two sets of Latin stems, seem to have fallen together, and expressing earnest purpose or thought, resolute. It is no coincidence that in order to seriously treat things as the same, they must truly belong together. And to treat things that are not in fact the same as belonging to the same series is seriously unserious. That would be the red-brown alliance ridiculousness. To treat the red and the brown as if they belong in the same place. No, they don't. Consequence is a series, and attribution of the wrong cause to the effect is the category error of selecting the wrong series, asserting the wrong actions to achieve solutions, the wrong means to the wrong ends. We have finally reached the end of this epic inquiry, and I hope that I have managed to provide the means to understanding the lingering LaRouche connivances and fetters of fascism that continue to do their worst in their attempts to mummify the living left. Let us not despair. La lutte continue. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. My Spanish is terrible, but basically, let us not despair. The fight continues. The people united will never be defeated. Okay, and here's just the screenshots of the overwhelming collaboration and friendliness between these far-right people and these so-called anti-imperialists, so-called leftists, whatever they call themselves, these grifters, these people that, if they're not also a grifter, have no business, whatever, validating people like this. Okay, hopefully this has been an effective, illuminating topic of discussion. So, let me just Finish scrolling on down here. And yes, a picture says 1,000 words, but at the same time, people would say that's just circumstantial evidence, doesn't prove anything. I'd say go ahead and try and do your own research and see what you come up with. So this is that Twitter account I was talking about, Mr. J. Scott, JSA Ascension. So you've got it on the Homeless Left page, right? As if like that's where you can reach our co-host, right? But you forgot to take it off the Homeless Left page. Maybe it won't be there anymore by now, but managed to get that screenshot. But that would be so here I actually put there's 2 pictures combined into one, right? But I just because I was cramming it all together, I just wanted to share x.com JSA Ascension. This account doesn't exist, but that's Jay Scott with whatever other second account he's got retweeting DD Geopolitics because they're all part of the same whatever. They've all drank the same Kool-Aid. Karen Kwiatkowski and what's his face? Jeffrey Sachs. Okay, they are people that when I was doing my work, I came across. The evidence said that they vehemently denied being associated with the LaRoucheite network, and that they didn't appreciate whether the character slander or whatever. That's I'm an independent whatever thinker kind of shit. But you guys, both of them, they're still all over these fucking podcasts. All right. So I don't care if you denied and you feel like we're slandering you for saying you are a LaRoucheite. You are a fucking LaRoucheite because you never broke with the fucking circles of those people. So there was like a liberal fucking, like a Zionist, whatever journalist wrote something about how Ron Paul was the successor to LaRouche. And he was talking about Karen Kwiatkowski as like an example of that, about someone who went from the LaRouche orbit to Ron Paul, whatever, after LaRouche was arrested. And so as much as that comes from a fucking Zionist or whatever, you're still in those circles or whatever. So there's a kind of like begrudging acceptance of a fact or whatever coming from the enemy, you know? Like that's what the fucking shit that happens. So here's your J. Scott Ascension talking about the same fucking Atlantis, whatever kind of conspiracy nonsense. Yeah, that's basically it, right? So this is what I'm saying. Jeffrey Sachs on the Schiller Institute, okay? You are not who you say you are, right? Fucking Chaz Freeman. Fuck these people. All right. That's, yeah, Sergei Glatziev. Remember I was talking about him? Schiller Institute, right? So I feel like I did my part. It's up to you guys to accept or reject what I had to say. Yeah. So that's that. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever. That's the end of that. Okay, so I guess that's all that I had for you tonight. Get them. Yeah, thank you. This is where I actually hope people would recognize, like, it took me a long time to get to this point where I was like, fuck them, okay? Abby was like, as soon as they fucking snubbed us and just said we weren't allowed to be part of their network, Abby was like, fuck those people or whatever. Like they you know, she was hurt by being betrayed. And I was a little bit more like, oh, maybe they have some kind of good reason why they acted the way they did, or whatever. It took me years. I was always still trying to advocate. We could still work with them. Maybe we could heal the wound or whatever, rebuild the bridge, you know. No, it's not going to happen because we're fundamentally on different trajectories. Their arc is going in the opposite direction as ours. And so it's just time to call the spade a spade and delineate ourselves, I guess. His name is Rathbone, I believe, after his relative is Rathbone devised. I was wondering why he's calling himself Rathbone, because if you go looking it up, he's just like Savvy. You don't really get to know who he is, but he wants like to really influence the public like that. I don't really appreciate that. I recognize how dangerous it is to just kind of put yourself out there like this. Everyone knows my real fucking name now. It's not so hard to find me. I don't really go around hiding like other people do. And one day maybe that'll get me fucking like in a bad way. But I think it's important for the public. I think that all this surveillance shit has gone so far. We don't really stand a chance being covert anymore. They see everything we're doing covertly, right? It's all overt now. So we have to, you know, the floodlights all over us. Or we have to act in the light now. We don't get to have any kind of organization in the shadows like we used to. And maybe that's actually a good thing because people have become so goddamn dishonest with all this fucking spy work. Okay? You don't have ideology when you have these spy agencies that have become completely unaccountable. The KGB became so powerful that the Soviet Union could not hold them whatever under control anymore, and it undermined the Soviet Union in a massive way. Potentially was the downfall of the Soviet Union, was the fucking betrayal of the KGB. And guess what, America? You're in the exact same fucking place with the CIA. They're literally doing exactly to the American government what the fucking KGB did to the Soviets, which is rob the government to the point where it will collapse. And then fucking, that's that controlled demolition, baby, that they're talking about. So you either get control of your CIA and you stop being an imperialist psychopath, or we all get to watch you fall, and it will be glorious. All right. I've done enough. I don't really need to kind of just go on and on. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you appreciated my work. I'm going to be doing my best to hopefully I didn't to set the bar so high with my first article that my next one is not as interesting, but I'll do my best. I think I maybe hopefully demonstrated that I can do quality work. It might take me a little longer than others, but don't count us out. Those of us who have disabilities, we have a role here too. Okay? Thank you. Love you all. Stay strong, stay the hammer, in the words of Sean. Remember, if we treat life like it's a game or a race, the war will be endless. Okay? Much love, solidarity. Okay, peace.